interaction session. We would also like to take a moment to sincerely thank retired Brigadier S.K. Kakkar sir, Director of Career Development Cellmate, and Dr. Amit Gautam, Training and Placement Officer, for their constant support, vision, and encouragement in making such interactions possible. SalesCode.ai is an AI powered sales technology platform that helps companies drive measurable sales growth. It offers intelligent tools for Salesforce automation and distributor management using AI to personalize tasks, predict orders, and optimize field execution. Trusted by leading brands, SalesCode AI guarantees sales uplift with operations spanning over 18 countries and impacting millions of users globally. Now it's time to introduce the person we are all here to interact with. Someone who has not only walked the path we are about to tread, but has done so with clarity, curiosity, and confidence. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Vansh Vadva from the batch of 2025, a dedicated and inspiring individual from the Department of Information Technology. Currently, he is working as a business analyst at SalesCode AI. Today, we are fortunate to have him here to share first-hand experiences, placement insights, career tips, and much more. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Even I wouldn't have introduced my company in such a good manner. Let me just, am I visible and audible to everyone?
Yes, sir, you are visible and audible.
I would have actually kept a really nice background if I would have known that I'm supposed to keep my camera on. But anyway, let's go. And I do know that this session is supposed to be a Q&A session. So do you want me to start with that, or do you want me to give a little brief introduction about what we do and what I do at my role?
So it would be nice if you give a brief intro yourself.
Okay. So basically, I'll just brief about the company. So SalesCode.ai was actually founded in 2014 or 15, I don't remember. But so basically, this is not a startup which will go bankrupt in one day, because this has been established since a long time now. But the only thing is that we are still facing and following a startup culture here. So we are always fast paced. There's a lot to learn. And what we do as a company is that, again, we automate the sales product at every hierarchy, be it distributor, retailer, wholesaler. Particularly, we are dealing in FMCG industry. If you do not know about FMCG industry, FMCG is fast moving consumer goods, be it like Coca-Cola or any products, which are consumed by market at a very great and higher pace. And what I do as a business analyst is something that we'll discuss throughout the session. And it will be better if, I answer that through a question rather than explain it all, and then you guys will forget about it. So let's just keep it as an informal session. भव्य कोऑर्डिनेटर्स कौन आए हैं मुझे बता दो, इनफॉर्मल रख सकता हूँ ना इसे?
भैया मैं हूँ और यशवर्धन है.
हाँ ठीक है, रख सकता हूँ. तो it would be better if you guys can ask me if ये तुम्हें जबरदस्ती लेके आए हैं इस कॉल पे, या फिर तुम खुद आना चाहते थे और समझना चाहते थे. Everything is fine and we can start with that. Yes, please go ahead.
भैया एक्चुअली मुझे स्पेसिफिक टू डेटा साइंस या फिर एमएल रोल अप्लाई करना है, बट अभी जो हमारे कॉलेज में जब आया था, जेडी आया था एंड जो प्रेजेंटेशन भी हुई थी, उसमें एसडीई का ऑप्शन था, बिजनेस एनालिस्ट ये सब का था. बट लाइक उनसे पूछा भी जब हमने, तो दे सेड कि अप्लाई थ्रू एसडीई एंड देन आपके इंटरव्यू में आप बता देना एमएल ये सब है, तो दे विल कन्वर्ट इट अकॉर्डिंगली. सो इज इट द वे?
Yes, it's a way. Switching within the company is possible from every role. But it should be relevant. Like I, as a business analyst, it might be difficult for me to switch to an ML role or to a pure coding role. But even that is a possibility for me as well. If I am performing good in my role, that can be accommodated by the company. And it is very much possible if you're selected as an ST to move on to the ML role. Even, whenever you're giving an interview, I guess if you're applying for SD, the second round of interview is with some senior stakeholder at the company. If you will tell him that I am much interested in the ML team, so basically what happens at SD role, whenever you enter the company, they'll select you for the backend team or the front end team, and that's when they can also select you for the ML part specifically. If you'll tell them that this is the field that you have expertise in and that you can excel it at. So yeah, that is possible.
Okay, but the OA remains the same क्योंकि उधर तक तो हमारे पास roles choose करने का option नहीं है, right?
Yes.
For the SD itself, right?
They are not specifically coming for the ML role, then you do not have any option and you'll have to apply through the same process as an SD.
So if possible, can you please guide us through the OA? कैसे questions होते हैं, specifically क्या चीजें आ सकती हैं, what to prepare and all?
Okay. I'm really not sure if so basically I applied for business analyst, right? I'm really not sure if OA for us and SD is same or not. I am pretty sure that it won't be, because when I talked to the other people who are currently working as SD at the company, they told me that they were supposed to solve DSA questions which were slightly easier or moderate. One easy and one medium question was there, if I remember correctly. And if you have been doing DSA since quite a time, you will be able to solve it. Just specifically telling it for the OA part.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Yes, Aditya.
Sir, for OA part of business analyst, क्या-क्या चीजें पूछी जा सकती हैं?
ठीक है, यार सर्वर मत बोलो यार, मेरे को और दूसरी चीजें।
ओके भैया।
यस, परफेक्ट। तो क्या-क्या पूछी जा सकती हैं यार? पहले राउंड में एप्टीट्यूड वुड बी देयर, आई गेस, और वो इजियर साइड पे रहता है। फर्स्ट राउंड इज प्रीटी मच इजियर एंड इट इज एक्चुअली अ टाइम बेस्ड टास्क इफ यू आस्क मी, because since the questions are on easier side, they'll actually check up on the timing part. Considering the process that was done for our year will be same for your year, and I'm pretty sure that it will be same. So just focus on the speed, because I'm pretty sure if you are someone with decent IQ, you'll be able to handle the aptitude part. They are on the easier side.
Okay.
Okay. So like how many people do we have in this meet? 38. How many of you are actually applying for the BA role? कोई अप्लाई नहीं कर रहा है क्या BA रोल के लिए? मुझे क्यों बुलाया फिर यार? Okay. Technical roles in OA. Okay. I guess specifically in DSA, if you are done with the first 4 data structures, that is array, stack, list, I think even that would be enough if you're just starting right now. But if you have been doing DSA since a long time, you should prepare it just like any OA you give for any other company. But even if not, I have heard from people that DSA in first round specifically for OA is on the easier side. I personally have not given that OA for SD role, so I cannot suggest you or tell you how much to prepare specifically for the DSA part. But this is what I've heard. And if you'll want me to answer this question after the session, I can ask anyone in my company that what kind of questions do they ask, and I can let you know. You can just contact me, take my number or email from the coordinators, and I'll reply you. And it would be better if you'll call me, because I am a really bad text person. Yes.
भैया एक क्वेश्चन मेरा और था, लाइक अभी जब प्रेजेंटेशन राउंड था तो दे मेंशन 2 पैकेजेस, एक तो 12.5 LPA CTC with base 9.5 and other package was 18.5 LPA with base 14.5, and in that they particularly mentioned about कि hackathons ये सब में पार्ट होना चाहिए. So इसके लिए क्या कोई अलग से एप्लीकेशन होती है, या we have to clear 12.5 then we apply for 18.5? and lastly क्या सिलेक्शन क्राइटेरिया होता है उसमें, प्लस कितने बच्चे सिलेक्ट करते हैं for 18.5?
ओके मैं थोड़ा बताता हूँ कि हमारे टाइम पे क्या होता था. So basically हमारे टाइम पर ये होता था that there were 4 slabs starting from. I'm just telling about the base here, not about the actual CTC, because no one cares about the CTC. Everyone cares about the cash in hand. So it was ranging from somewhere 7 LPA till 11, depending upon the performance of an employee. I guess 6 months back when I joined. So for the first 6 months, we were supposed to, do our job at the lowest slab because we were interns and we were trainees at that time, and now we are full-time employees. And after that, you get converted onto the slab which is relevant to your performance. For example, I got converted at the highest slab or the second highest slab, let's say. So at that time, my CTC will be evaluated based on my performance. But since market correction is going on right now, they have increased the packages for everyone. Even I'm not aware how much salary I'll be getting this month, particularly. Even I wouldn't have cared enough to disclose it with you all. But if you're asking me about 12.5 and 18.5, that will be dependent on the performance of specifically you in probation period. I don't know if you guys will have probation of 3 months or 6 months, but whatever it is, how it will be dependent on how you perform, and if you have done all the tasks that were provided to you. And if you specifically, just one thing, if I'm mentioning to you all, that as someone who is new, if we can take some high impact initiative which will result in the overall development of the product or development of the software development life cycle which we are following in the company, that is actually something which will give you an edge in order to get the higher package.
Okay, भैया.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions? Or I can specifically tell you about my role and what we are supposed to do here. Goal by Pranur.
Be any specific tips for a guy who has applied for business analytics role?
अभी तक कितने राउंड तुम्हारे कोई राउंड्स हुए हैं अभी या स्टार्ट ही होना है प्रोसेस?
We start होगा अगस्त में.
ठीक है. सो पहला राउंड इज ओए. ओए के लिए एप्टीट्यूड करो, और अगर तुम थोड़ा रफली 1 हफ्ते पहले या कुछ एप्टीट्यूड या 10 दिन पहले भी एप्टीट्यूड लगातार करने लग जाओगे, 1 या 2 दिन के टेस्ट्स, you will get the flow, you'll get the type of questions that they're going to ask, so it will just get easier for you. And second round and third rounds are, second round at my time was video interview round. So what they care about specifically is your communication skills. If you are good and clear at what you say, that will give you edge even if you don't perform really good in the Excel round or the presentation round, because as business analysts we are constantly dealing with the client, and Excel SQL or PPT, let's say, is something we can learn even while we are working, because since AI is here, we can all depend on the AI for the task, at least just for the sake of it, and then we can learn eventually with the time. So second round is important. When you present yourself, give an introduction. The introduction should be short and crisp, telling about your internships, your past experiences. What do you handle in your college life? Like, let's say you're a coordinator in placement cell. That would help because that is teaching you communication skills. If you're handling any society, if you're talking about, let's say, technical roles, again, if you have hackathons, some wins in the hackathons, that would obviously give you an edge, because they will set a bar for the person who is hiring you. And about Excel, I can literally tell you few topics which you should cover. First is conditional formatting. Second is all types of lookup: VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP. Third would be pivot tables, and fourth is macros. But I don't think it is not even if you do not study it and do not understand it, it's fine. But if you can, that will give you an edge. And just the basic understanding of how case studies work, and you should know how to get your hands dirty with numbers. It's in a nutshell, that is what I'm saying. For the presentation round, I'm pretty sure that most of you should be dealing and participating in case comps of the DU circuit. And even if you're not, they make very short and crisp PPTs which are very MBA oriented. Now that's good. Even I made a PPT like that when Sales Code visited at my time. But they actually, expect you to create a very clean and very concise PPT, which will tell them about their product even better than they know themselves. So that is their expectation from the presentation round. About the HR round and the GD round, again, it is very highly dependent on your communication skills and how you present yourself, and how they should have an idea that you will be comfortable dealing with the client.
But yeah, actually, in the mail, it was mentioned it will be an assignment. Like it was not Excel online round. It was Excel assignment, presentation assignment. So we will be having an assignment over a mail that we will have to submit, or it will be an online round.
I can tell you what happened at my time. So for the presentation part, we were supposed to create a PPT on the problem statement that they gave and submit it within 24 hours. And for the Excel round, that round was conducted in the college itself. So I'm pretty sure that is going to happen the same way, just like the last time. But even if not, presentation is still, the assessment round where you'll create and submit. But Excel might be something which is happening right at that moment. So you should know how to work with Excel.
Like, can you recommend us some sources for Excel or PPT rounds? Because I don't have, I have not never participated in case competitions from DU circuit or anything like that. So can you just recommend like how can we create like good decks so that we can get selected?
There's this one website specifically for learning Excel. Let me just Google it. I do not remember the exact name. Just let me find it. Just give me 1 minute. I'll take questions after that. You can refer to W3 schools for Excel part. I think that would be enough. If you cover all the modules that are present in that, I think that would be enough. Meanwhile, you can also download a random data set and play with that just for the Excel part. And Garv Pavita is asking, is PPO guaranteed? Anything is not guaranteed, भाई. हो सकता है मुझे कल निकाल दें. Your performance speaks for yourself. But I have seen in most the cases, people do get converted. However, if you're someone who is not competent enough and not able to handle the workload, you'll quit yourself. So there are people who are not getting PPOs in front of me, but most of them do get.
भैया ये एचडी रोल की हायरिंग प्रोसेस कितनी अलग होती है
फ्रॉम द बीए रोल?
यस
यार आई एम रियली नॉट श्योर, बट दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव हर्ड. मैं गलत भी बोल सकता हूँ, बट आई गेस 3 राउंड होते हैं. पहला राउंड स्पेसिफिकली फोकसेस ऑन डीएसए पार्ट. सेकेंड राउंड इज विद सम सीनियर स्टेक होल्डर जो डीएसए भी पूछते हैं, तुम्हारे बारे में भी पूछते हैं, और इन जनरल प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट योर प्रोजेक्ट्स, जस्ट लाइक एनी टेक्निकल इंटरव्यू. And about third round is basic HR round, your personality test and everything. Because even as a developer, हो सकता है कहीं requirement हो कि तुम्हें किसी client visit पे लेके जाना पड़े in order to understand the complex systems. So not very important, but they will check if you are someone who have a good understanding. हाँ आदित्य.
भैया हमें guesstimates, puzzles और ये case studies करने की भी need है क्या?
You're again dependent upon your interviewee specifically. Guesstimates or puzzles or case studies तो देख करने की जरूरत है, because if they'll give you a business scenario that would work. हाँ, बस 2 तरीके की case studies होती हैं. एक होती है qualitative और एक होती है quantitative. But quantitative I guess ज्यादा नहीं पूछेंगे वो लोग. Qualitative and subjective case studies you should study. 4-5 भी पढ़ लोगे, you will get the business flow and how the business works, so that would be good. And also read about the company before you are going on for any interview part, be it second round or third round. You should know what does SalesCode do and how you are how you are good for the part.
Okay.
In interview, what was the main focus? For BA role, the main focus was on communication skills. I have already told this. Other than that, my business understanding. What do they expect from us in TPA role and how should we prepare for that? Okay, so like I've been working with a lot of TPAs in the last month, and in my understanding, what they do is they do every task that is remotely or majorly related with data part. So I'll just give me 5 minutes. I'll explain you how things work. So let's just say we have onboarded a client. Now they have their data maintained in multiple tables, and now we also have a database running on different platforms. But since we have our keys defined at a certain name, we have to map those data points, and we have to pull their data exactly at the right column. I'm just talking about it in a very layman language. So here is the role of here's the part where the role of TPA starts. The TPA would sit in the client meeting with us, and they'll map every key from one client to our database. And after that, most of the work that happens for the TPA is at the back end rather than the front end part. And they do code, if that's what I'm asking, that if that's what you're asking me. SQL understanding should be there for the TPA role. I guess that's it. That's what I know about the TPA role. Can we work from remote or it's work from office only? It's work from office only. But if there is any situation where you should be given work from home, they'll grant you the work from home. Like since a lot of time Gurgaon is flooded, so I take work from home at that time and don't go to office and work from the flat itself. Can you suggest some resources for Aptitude? Yes, I can. Just give me 1 minute. There's again one website which I used to refer. India, it's something. I'll just tell you the exact name. I'll copy paste this website. You can refer to this website for Aptitude part. Even if you're someone who's interested in CAT, you can still refer here just for the starting and the basic part of it in order to understand how you can start and go in the right direction. How can I switch from TPA to BA? Okay, again, I've answered this, that if you're someone with excellent communication skills, and if you're someone since you're TPA, you'll be sitting with us in the system integration testing part. That is when you map your keys with client's data. So that would be the moment of you when you're directly talking to the client. And if you're someone who actually does not need any person in middle to communicate with the client, and if you're someone who's comfortable enough to do so, that is the moment where you will tell and basically show off that, okay, this is what I'm good at as well. But for the internal switching part, you'll have to align your managers and product or project managers whose team you'll be joining, and also the HRs. Just a second. Okay. TPA and what will be asked OA for TPA? Here I have absolutely no idea what is asked in OA for TPA role. It was not there at my time. I'll have to ask someone, but I can let you know. Just ping me over WhatsApp and I'll answer you for the same. Would that work? Prabhu.
In the last company ION, they asked the question that why are you applying for this role, technical analyst role? So if this company asks the same question, that why are you applying for a business analyst role, can you recommend some answer? Because in the last company, I couldn't answer it properly because my domain is a little bit of data science and tech side domain, and my resume reflects the same. So what would be the best answer to this question?
If you're someone who's interested in data science role, actually you should stick to your role rather than BA. I can tell you what I do at my company, and whatever you like and whatever you feel that you're good at this, that is something maybe you can pick at and tell them, okay, that this is required at your company and this is also something which I am good at. So I can tell you where does my role begin and end at the company. So whenever sales team pitch to any client, let's say I'm actually currently working with Coca-Cola Philippines and Mars India, these two companies. So let's say Coca-Cola Philippines, or let's just say Coca-Cola India, is onboarded via SalesCode, and now we discuss the scope. So basically there are two teams, project team and product team. And if the requirement of client is something which we do not have currently, then you'll have to work with both the teams and develop something from the scratch. So the first meeting with client is generally you onboard the client and you understand the requirement. You plan the scope, basically what are all the requirements of the client. You understand their business. How does that business work? What's basically the ground reality of that business? Then you come up with an approach by yourself. You discuss it with your managers that this is something that we're planning and this might match with their requirement. And after all the sign-offs and all the confirmations, now your role begins again. Now you document all those requirements. You align the developers that this is what you're supposed to do in this many days. Basically, a timeline is also created by you. You're supposed to take meetings every day with client and also with the developers, and also when the development is done with the testers as well. So basically, you are someone who is managing the project overall. And other than meetings, you're also supposed to create business impact reports, go to client meeting, conduct your own research, and if you're in product team, then understand the FMCG market and build your product from the scratch, that this is the requirement of the market and this is what I want to work at, and the company will grant you some resources and you can work on that. So if anything in this process at all interests you, you can pick up on that. And other than that, you can also tell them that you have excellent communication skills and you have been, let's probably move to CTC में था. So I have been working in CTC and I know how to manage people. I am good with people in general. Other than that, please work on your Excel skills and all SQL skills, whatever softwares a BA use. So I think that would give you an edge. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Do you understand what I do and what does my company do and how you should prepare? Except for the TPA OA role part and the SD part, that I'll share with your coordinators maybe later and they can share with you.
Can you also tell us a little bit about what type of clients do basically the company deal with?
We are a tech company in FMCG industry. So right now, the clients we have are Coca-Cola, Mars India, Parle is also coming sooner. And other than that, we have happening one another, Perfecti. Or other than that, there are many clients. Like these are the clients I am aware about and I have worked on remotely or majorly. But yeah, there are a lot of clients. But they all do, they all do work in FMCG industry only.
This is basically a product-based company, right?
Yes, actually, we are software as a service platform, but we also have our products, standard products. We go and work on the requirement of client, but we do have standard products at the back end. Okay, anything else, guys? बोर हो गए हो गया यार तुम लोग. सर्टिफिकेट में कितना डीएस आना चाहिए यार? कितना डीएस है तो मुझे भी नहीं पता यार. 4 साल हो गए कॉलेज के, 6 महीने काम करते हुए हो गए. कभी समझ नहीं आया कितना डीएस से इनफ होता है. लव बब्बर की 450 के बाद करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए मुझे तो नहीं पता. But if I answer specifically, I guess TP is someone who works at the back end, so they have a very good understanding of SQL, subqueries, joins, and everything. And other than that, DSA, I guess, for DSA, arrays, tags, linked list, or basically the first 4 data structures. I think they would not ask questions as complex as trees and maps, but again, it all depends on your luck because the syllabus is not concrete. At the end, it's a DSA round. And they have a pattern of asking easy questions, but it is not compulsory that they'll ask only easy questions. So you should be prepared for every scenario.
Also, while giving the interview, we should prefer English only because in the last company, Ion, they had a lot of international clients. So they had a lot of emphasis on English speaking during the interview and no use of words in Hindi.
Correct.
Is it the same for this company as well?
Yeah, please stick to English. Not just for this company, but for every company that is going to visit your campus. Only in one situation you should speak Hindi if a person who is interviewing you is speaking in Hindi, and that's the only place and scenario where you should be speaking in Hindi to make him comfortable. Other than that, please stick to English for every company, for every role. Do they ask case studies in the rounds? They do not ask quantitative case studies like ZS in their rounds, but they can, put you in a business scenario and ask you what you should be doing if you were a product manager at that time. So in these scenarios, if you call that a case study, yes.
How much do they pay as an intern, bhaiya?
How much do they pay for an intern? यार आई एम नॉट रियली श्योर कि मैं ये बता सकता हूँ यहाँ पर या नहीं, बट द पे इज गुड इज व्हाट आई कैन से. जो अच्छी कंपनीज इंटर्न्स को पे कर रही होती है दैट इज यूजुअली द सेम. जितना जीएस देती है उससे थोड़ा बेटर ही होगा शायद, या उतना तो होगा ही. Do cases include consultation as well? No. And do they ask to write SQL queries in OA? For BA round, no. For TPA round, maybe yes. I'm not sure. But again, I'm telling you guys that I'm really not sure about TPA round, because that is something that I have not given myself personally. I can ask it from other people and let you all know so that you can prepare well. Do case studies include consultation? No. How does companies prioritize work-life balance? No startup will ever prioritize work-life balance. But if I have to sugarcoat things, if you're working extra, they'll recognize that and they'll give you comp offs for that. Like you'll get an extra leave if you'll work an extra day. Specifically, if I'm working, let's say my general office timings are 10 to 7, but since past week work pressure has been really hectic because we are about to deliver a client deliverable. So that for that I have to work 8 to 12 some days. For 8 to 12 I can get a compensatory offs, for which I can get extra leaves. And of course, okay, is business development role is similar to BA? Not at all. Business development is someone who is working closely with the sales team. And they are someone who is responsible for onboarding the client. They work at a very initial stage of the project. They work even before the project starts. So business development is sales, basically, if I answer in layman. Can you provide some resources for case studies as well? Yes. Okay. If you want to just, so basically what specifically for sales code, you do not want to refer to any resource. You can just watch some videos and understand how business scenarios work. But if you want to prepare for case studies in general, you can refer to MDI consulting book. Go over LinkedIn, type MDI consulting book 2025, you'll get a book and download it, read it. You'll also have guesstimates in that book. You'll have case studies, business frameworks, everything which will prepare you for ZS, for sales code, and for IAN if IAN comes again. What can I exactly prepare for PA? You can prepare your Excel. You can work on your Excel skills. You have to create a really good presentation, work on your communication skills, and work on your introduction. So work on your introduction is an advice which I got from my friend, and I didn't pay much attention to that advice, but now I know that if you are someone who has mastery over their introduction, you can excel in any interview, because you can govern the direction in which your interview is gonna flow. If you have an interview which is if you have an introduction which is very crisp, if I'll talk about my project in my introduction, that interview has to ask about that project by me. So by that, I can choose the direction of my interview. Are front-end based projects enough for TPA? TPA is someone who works at the back end, but yes, in general, if you have projects and you can explain them, that would give you an edge. Some insights for full stack role, OA pattern. First round DSA, second round DSA, third round personality. For full stack, if you have a project in full stack, again will give you an edge, just like how every technical interview works. What is asked in OA interview for BD role? Again, no idea. OA for other roles, I do not know what do they ask. I can let you know. Can you tell me about your project that got selected? Yeah, I don't think they selected my project. They selected me basically, and they were interested in more of what I can say. What I did good in my interview was that I knew a lot about the company. Since when I was making the presentation, I studied and read about all the case studies that they have posted on their website. So I guess that was the point they were impressed by the most. But in general, what projects did I have were that I had one project which used to, compare. In that project, you'll give basically a CSV file or Excel file, and that will run all the machine learning models on that Excel file, and they'll compare. And basically that project will compare the accuracy of all the ML models, and a user can choose which ML model to work on initially, rather than running every ML model manually. Last year, how many students get selected for BA role? For SD role, no one got selected. For BA role, 3 students got selected. Difference between BD and BA. Okay. For BD role, that is business development, it's someone who is working with the sales team very closely. They are responsible for onboarding the client. And BA is someone whose role starts, after a client has been onboarded. BA can, understand the requirement of the client, fix them what do they have already, so that we can make customizations in the same. And उसके बाद द जर्नी ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट्स. तुमने एसडीएलसी पढ़ा होगा ना सब्जेक्ट, उसमें जो होता है ना एजाइल मॉडल में सेम करना होता है हमें. कैन ईसी स्टूडेंट्स एलिजिबल फॉर एसडी रोल? यार एलिजिबिलिटी का आइडिया तो कोऑर्डिनेटर्स ही दे पाएंगे, हर साल शायद चेंज होती है. Do they ask you to open your project and do live changes in this? I have not seen any interview in my life where you are asked to open your project live, unless it is a very tech oriented interview, then they can. But in sales code specifically, I have not seen this. And even I have given the last round of both IN and ZS. Even in these companies, they did not ask me to open my project and show it live. They expect me to explain it line by line and from scratch, so that they can visualize it at their end even without seeing it. If someone is completely focused on ML and AI, with projects purely related to those areas, how can we contribute to the company? Again, I answered this in the starting of the session, that you can apply for SD. Then you can talk to the senior stakeholder who is taking your interview, that I am someone who has expertise in ML, and I purely work on ML. I purely work on ML things, and they'll actually allow you to go in the ML team in the starting itself. What is exactly your work as a BA in company? I have explained this. I'll explain it again. Just give me 1 second. Do I have to explain my full code to the interview of the project? इसका तो क्या आंसर दूं मैं यार? Again, it depends on the interview itself. Interview, if he'll ask you to do so, then you'll have to. Now about as my work as a BA in the company. So basically, whenever sales team has onboarded the client, I have to sit with the client so we can kick off the project. We understand the requirement of the client. We document all the requirements. We share the requirements with the developers, that this is something you have to develop in this much timeline, and then we have to align the testing team for the testing part of it, and you have to give timelines to all these teams. You have to conduct Scrum every morning so that you know what is the track and status of the project, and you have to escalate if the project is not following a specific timeline. So basically the project management part in general. Second thing is the stakeholder management for the escalation of any problem. The third is reporting and dashboarding. That is where you create business impact reports. Fourth is, taking client meetings in general and understanding their requirements, even in between the project, if they feel like that this is not something that they agreed upon or this is not something that is going to align with their business requirement. You'll have to change accordingly. You'll have to come up with different approaches. You have to understand the business at the groundwork reality. यार पोस्टमैन तो मतलब मुझे पता नहीं है यार, सही बताऊं तो पोस्टमैन मतलब मैंने बस इसलिए यूज किया कि बस एपीआई हिट करके हम उस पर देखते हैं कि क्या रिस्पॉन्स आ रहा है, इतना ही पता है मुझे तो पोस्टमैन के बारे में. मैं तो बस अगर क्लाइंट से कभी लड़ना होता है कि तुम्हारी एपीआई नहीं चल रही तो हिट करके देख लेता हूँ रिस्पॉन्स आ रहा है या नहीं. पोस्टमैन इन जनरल इज फॉर द टेस्टिंग पर्पस. आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट दिस, मुझे कुछ गलत नहीं बोलना है तो मैं इसको आंसर नहीं करूंगा. Aptitude is asked in BA role for the OA part. What level of proficiency in Excel and SQL is expected? SQL, you can have average proficiency, like 5 on 10 would work. If you just know normal queries and normal basic questions of SQL, that would be enough. But for Excel, you'll have to study VLOOKUP and conditional format. Basically, you'll have to work on some assignment before you go on and understand, start with this assessment at the time whenever it is conducted. That's it. Anything else? Second, okay. So Bhavya is here. Can we end this session now?
Yeah.
I don't think we have any further questions.
I guess there is one more question.
Okay.
Someone just dropped.
Okay. Do open source contributions in projects be sufficient, or we also need to have a good knowledge of DSA whatsoever? Okay. So basically, you're someone who has done the development part but not the DSA part. Here, for every interview, DSA is important. Like you can justify your development, and if the interviewer is actually, interested in the development itself, then you can make an exception for sure. But specifically, if they are conducting a DSA round, they would want someone who is good at DSA. Tell me about your interview experience. Okay, so at my time, SalesCode came to the campus during the times of NSEM. So our process was conducted in between the NSEM itself. My OA was conducted, it went fine, and it went normally. I got selected. A lot of people got selected in OA. There was not a lot of rejection in that round. For the video interview part, I got selected again. I made an introduction video. Just 1 second. Okay. Can someone please remind me what I was telling? I broke my file.
Video selection. Video selection.
Yeah, so video selection round. In that round, you're supposed to give a brief introduction about yourself, 1.5 to 2 minutes introduction, where you tell about your work experience, your past experiences, and your co-curricular activities in general. I got selected in that round. So these were 2 rounds which did not include any interaction with the people who were hiring me. For the Excel round, there was invigilation by the company, and we were supposed to complete assessment under 1 hour. And I completed 70% of the assessment, not completed whole of it. But I still got selected for the last presentation round. I made the presentation in the 24 hours, submitted it. Even that got selected, but I made a presentation which was very MBA oriented. So I think I did not perform very well in that round because they expect a very clear and a concise PPT which can be shared with the client, and not someone and not a PPT that is actually used by consultancy companies, basically. And for the GD round, they'll give you topics which are related to AI in general. So please prepare about topics which is related to AI. Have some facts handy. And for the HR round, that was actually predictable. They were grilling you again and again that if you would do this, then why would you not do this? There were constant scenarios, like if you are in a company and a senior is not listening to you, what would you do? Basic HR questions, but the HRs were, constantly grilling. So do not lose confidence in that situation. Keep answering and basically be honest. Do not try to oversmart them. They know better than you, is what I'm telling you. So that was my experience, and after that I got selection mail in 24 hours, and I had a joining after 6 days. I joined a bit late. Can you please tell if DSN front-end knowledge is required for BA role? No, it is not required. If your CV has front-end projects, please justify to them that why are you applying for BA role. In 7 SEM, yes, in 7 SEM. Our video selection round is already done. Okay, result not out. But do this also shortlist on base? Yes, they do shortlist. If they have received a lot of entries, they'll shortlist in the video round as well. Could you please name the DSA topics which were asked for full stack role? I guess I asked one of my friend. He was asked a question related to stack. I'm not someone who can give you a better advice or a good advice, even a good advice related to DSA. I'll have to ask some people and let you know after this session. How can we work on PowerPoint skills? Yeah, you can not work on your PowerPoint skills. You can just see good presentations and know how does this work and what are the expectations of the client. So just go on LinkedIn, search IM presentations. What do they have is that everything is very concise and basically all the information is suffocated in the slide. You'll have to avoid that, but you'll have to research in the same direction and present all the same facts, but just do not make it very suffocated, just specifically for this company. हाँ नित्य
भैया ये बीए रोल के लिए रिज्यूमे में क्या क्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं? लाइक ये पावर बीआई वगैरह ये सब भी करना पड़ेगा क्या?
यार देखो मेरे रेज्यूमे में थी तो आई गेस थोड़ा एज मिला होगा, बट इन जनरल पावर बीआई का काम काफी कम रहता है. अगेन मेरी चॉइस है, जब मैं रिपोर्टिंग कर रहा हूँ अगर मुझे एक्सेल पे करनी है तो मैं एक्सेल पे कर सकता हूँ, अगर मुझे पावर बीआई पे करनी है तो मैं उस पर भी कर सकता हूँ. So if you're someone who know Power BI and you want to tell it to the person who is taking your interview, again it can be good, but it is not something that is mandatory to have in the resume. और अगर तुम्हें नहीं आता तो मत डालो.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else or good questions? Can you tell what all you had in your resume? Okay. एक तो जो प्रोजेक्ट मैंने अभी बताया वो वाला था, और एक मैंने बेसिकली वो बनाया था, मैंने ये YouTube से देख के बना लिया था, इसमें मेरा कोई दिमाग नहीं लगा था. कस्टमर चर्न एनालिसिस प्रोजेक्ट विद रैंडम फॉरेस्ट मॉडल. तो इसमें कुछ नहीं था, टेली मार्केटिंग कंपनी थी, उनके डेटा को एनालाइज करना था, थोड़े पैटर्न्स निकालने थे और एक्सेल में उनकी डैशबोर्डिंग करनी थी, सॉरी पावर बीआई में उनकी डैशबोर्डिंग करनी थी, और उसके बाद रैंडम फॉरेस्ट मॉडल लगा के थोड़ी सी प्रेडिक्शन थी और फिर उन चीजों को थोड़ा विजुअलाइजेशन करना था. कुछ ज्यादा बड़ी चीज नहीं थी, बट इट वाज समथिंग रिलेटेड टू बिजनेस इन जनरल, सो आई मेड इट. और उसके अलावा मेरी पास्ट एक्सपीरियंसेस जितने भी थे ना यार, मैं उससे पहले 2 इंटर्नशिप करी थी. एक तो मैंने रिफाइनिक, हमारे कॉलेज में सोसाइटी है, तुम लोगों को पता होगा, नहीं पता तो ज्वाइन कर लो. वो थोड़ा कंसल्टिंग वगैरह से रिलेटेड रहता, तो मैं उसमें था. तो उसके कारण हमने कंसल्टिंग वो कर ली थी, इंटर्नशिप फॉर एन एनजीओ, वो थी मेरे रेज्यूमे में. और एक मैं जीटीएम स्ट्रैटेजिस्ट था एक स्टार्टअप के लिए, तो वो था. और एक इंटर्नशिप मैंने एयरपोर्ट पे की थी फॉर सम फ्रंट एंड डेवलपमेंट, वो मैंने हटा दी थी क्योंकि दैट वाज नॉट अलाइंड टू दिस रोल. बट हाँ, ये 3 चीजें थी. और इसके अलावा जितना मैंने कॉलेज में था कि प्लेसमेंट कोऑर्डिनेटर, प्लेसमेंट सेल कोऑर्डिनेटर, या फिर अपना प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ दीज मेनी सोसाइटीज, जितनी चीजें थी को करिकुलर वो सब डालती थी, और सर्टिफिकेशंस डालती थी 1-2 करके अच्छे से. फ्रंट बैक एंड एमएल या प्रोजेक्ट आइडियाज, तो देखो मेरे से बेटर तो तुम यूट्यूब कर सकते हो, चैट जीपीटी कर सकते हो. जो मैंने सुने होंगे वो तो प्रोबेबली मेन स्ट्रीम प्रोजेक्ट्स ही होंगे कि भाई ई-कॉमर्स वेबसाइट बना लो, या फिर कुछ फाइनेंशियल मॉडल्स रिलेटेड कुछ चीज बना लो, या क्रिप्टो करेंसी कंपेयर करने वाली चीजें बना लो. ये सब मैंने ऑलरेडी देखी हुई है अपने दोस्तों के प्रोजेक्ट में, और यही सब यूट्यूब पे क्लोन वगैरह बना लिया. तो ये सब तो नहीं करना है. अब जैसे मेरा एक दोस्त है, मेरे ईयर में ही था, उसने ये बनाया था कि वट एवर यू हैव इन योर माइंड, ऐसा होता है ना कि हम नोट्स में लिखते हैं कि यार इसके बारे में सोचूंगा, और फिर हम भूल जाते हैं और हम नहीं सोचते हैं, उस पर प्लान नहीं करते. सो बेसिकली ही मेड अ बॉट ऑन टेलीग्राम विच इज लाइक योर सेकंड ब्रेन, जिसपे वो एनालिसिस भी कर रहा था कुछ कुछ करके, मतलब मुझे डिटेल में तो नहीं पता, बट वट एवर यू राइट ऑन दैट ऐप, that is basically your second brain who will remind you also after a while that you thought upon it, is this something you want to act upon. तो मेरे को वो प्रोजेक्ट बहुत अच्छा लगा था. बाकी काफी लोग लिंक्डइन ऑटोमेशन की चीजें बना लेते हैं. एमएल स्पेसिफिकली तो यार तुम कोई डेटा सेट उठा लो, उसकी एनालिसिस कर लो. मेरे पास तो ये, अगर फ्रंट बैक एमएल कुछ बहुत ही वो यार, टाइम नहीं होता तुम लोगों के पास इतना, तुम बहुत कुछ कॉम्प्लेक्स बना सको, 3-4 महीने जाएंगे इफ यू आर समवन who is starting from scratch. तो कोई एक डोमेन पकड़ो और उसका बना लो पहले, उसके बाद नहीं यार मेरे ख्याल अब तो तुम नहीं कर सकते हो. अब तो तुम 4th ईयर में आ गए हो, 4th ईयर में तो कोई सोसाइटी ज्वाइन नहीं कर सकते, और मैं कॉलेज से निकल चुका हूँ अब तो अब मैं कैसे ही करवाऊँ कुछ. ठीक है, और कुछ?
I think that's it, भैया. Questions तो हो गए हैं पूरे.
ओके.
Okay, so before we end this session, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today and for sharing your journey, experience, and insights so openly. We truly appreciate your willingness to guide us, answer our questions patiently, and most importantly, support the junior community as a mentor and friend. On behalf of everyone here, thank you once again.
Thank you so much guys, and thank you for welcoming me, and thank you for attending this. कुछ भी डाउट हो, कुछ भी पूछना हो रिलेटेड टू दिस कंपनी या जो भी इंटरव्यूज मैंने दिए थे, INZS या जो भी था, पूछ सकते हो तुम, मेरे को रीच आउट कर लेना. टेक केयर.
Thank you.